My experience with angry parents usually stem from one of two things. First is that they are grieving as they see the decline of their child, and they're coping for that. Their approach to that grief is anger because it's not fair. This is not fair. So I think there's anger from that, but I think often the anger that we are experiencing is the lack of feeling heard. That is one of the most common reasons that I interact with a family that's angry. So if you can approach a family that's angry with the understanding that the likelihood of those two things are there, and then trying to identify which of those is this, can really help guide your approach and guide what support does this family need right now. Do they need me to stay out of the room because they're grieving and they're angry and there's nothing I can do about it except be available when they're ready? Then we have to sit with that anger. We have to let them be angry because this stinks. This really stinks. And it's okay to be angry. I know especially as a nurse, you want to fix things. Like that's our natural instinct, is to fix things. And sometimes we can't. And we have to be okay with the emotions that come along with this. If it's anger related to not being heard, that's a very different approach. Sometimes I think the nurses that are at the bedside may have the most insight or may be able to elicit from the family what it is that they're angry about, and hopefully then be able to share it with other care member or medical team members if it's appropriate. I think a lot of times our nurses are hearing venting. The family is frustrated and they're venting, and sometimes it's things that need to be acted upon, and sometimes it's just emotions that need to come out. When it's anger about not being heard or frustration that, whether it be the primary care team that's caring for the child or a specialty, that they're not listening to the family, I like to take those opportunities to go into the room by myself and sit. And unfortunately, our rooms are often pretty crazy, hectic places, but I really try to first ask permission if I may sit, because I'm entering their space, and then be present. I like to go, if possible, in the evening, because the days are busy. There's lots of people in and out of the room, and often I feel that the daytime is a bit overwhelming. There's rounds, there's specialists, there's multidisciplinary teams coming in, and the days are busy. I work from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., so I get to span the day into the night, which is actually a real wonderful thing, I think, for my role. So in the evening, when some of the craziness of the daytime has died down, I love to see if the family is open to just talking and entering into the room, asking permission for me to sit, asking permission for me to enter their space, and try to then provide an opportunity for them to share what's going on, what's in the forefront of their thoughts right now, and what's not going well, what is causing them to be frustrated or irritated. And I think that's an effective tool to sometimes break through the cycle of anger, of not being heard, and then just being ticked off that they're not being heard. So either sometimes families will shut down or continue to escalate. But sometimes an opportunity to just talk is important to recenter everybody. What's not going right, and how can we address it? Was it a specialist who showed up and acted like they were going to tell us what the plan was, and they hadn't talked with any of the other specialists, so they had no clue what was actually going on? Or was it a nurse who wanted to do things a certain way, but at home the family does things a little bit differently, and the parent is feeling like their control is being taken from them, and that's really angering them. And no one's hearing when the parent says, no, it's not how we give feeds, or that's not how I push the meds in. Like, these teeny little details are so important and can cause so much friction and conflict. So I feel honored that I get to sometimes go in and have these conversations with the families and hear what they're really experiencing and really feeling, and then be able to bring that back to the rest of the team.